Grab your cup. Here are 5 ways that you can cultivate a more loving relationship with yourself. 5 things that you can do. And here's how you know, in case you're wondering, here's how you know if you don't have a loving relationship with yourself. If you have a voice inside your head that criticizes, judges, compares you to other people, shouts at you sometimes about why did you do that? What are you doing wrong? What's wrong with you inherently? Then you know that your relationship with yourself is not very loving. It's not great. And if you've listened to me for any length of time, and I'm not the only one who says this, but this is the core of the work that I do, the relationship with yourself determines everything else in life. It determines how you relate to other people. It determines who you are when you go to work. It determines your health and your weight. The relationship with yourself is primary to every other life experience. So it's worth the time and effort to create a great loving relationship with yourself. And if you notice that your life experiences are not what you want, just consider, what is that voice saying to you? How do you really relate to yourself? Okay? So here are 5 things. Some of them are a little bit easier than others, I admit, but see what you think. The first one is be willing to give up the protective ways of coping that you have created to be in the world, the way that you cope. So all of us, at some point, and it starts when we're very young, get hurt, get wounded. We feel rejected by people. We feel like we weren't invited to things, we didn't get included, or someone really hurt us. Sometimes it's people who are very, very important to us. Sometimes it's the kids in the lunchroom at school. Whatever it is, but we start to create a protective way of coping. And at some point, that protective way was helpful in those times, but at some point, it's now an armor that we hold for protection all the time. But it's a barrier between really giving and receiving love, really sharing yourself. So when you're willing to give up that, whatever are the ways that you have of coping, and say, I'm not going to do that anymore, that's an important way to start to love yourself rather than cope through your life, okay? The second way is to practice daily things that nurture your physical body and your spirit. So things that nurture your physical body, your sleep schedule. You may have a schedule, but it's you go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't nurture your physical body. The food that you put in. Food is information for your body. If you consistently put in food that your body can't use, that is toxic because it's very processed, that you need to use a lot of resources to even break down, that doesn't have great nutrients, you're not nurturing your physical body. So your sleep, the food that you put in your mouth, is it feeding you? And your spirit, on a daily basis, do you pay attention to your spiritual health? Do you connect with yourself spiritually? Do you listen to your inner guidance rather than that critical voice? Okay, so daily practices. The next one is you stop taking responsibility for how other people feel and what they say or how they react. So when you're always more concerned with how other people feel than yourself, that's not loving yourself. When you worry about what people will do or say as a result of your actions, that's not loving yourself. You have zero responsibility for anybody else's emotions. Now, that doesn't mean be irresponsible about what you do and say. You want to have integrity, right? But if you choose something, if you take an action, if you say something, you're not responsible for how they feel. And that also means no one is responsible for how you feel. So if you use language a lot like, well, they make me feel guilty, they make me feel whatever, you're giving your power over to someone else. No one makes you feel anything. We are 100% responsible for how we feel. So other people are 100% responsible for how they feel, not you. So stop doing things that are completely motivated by hoping someone else feels better, responds better, approves of what you did or said, okay? The next one is share the truth of who you are rather than the contrived version of you. So we all have a version of ourselves that we created to show up in the world. This is what I think people want to see. They want to see certain accomplishments. They want to see a certain personality. This is how I show up in the world. And I don't know how to show up any other way. But it's contrived. It's not really you. There may be some parts of it that are you, but a lot of times it's very contrived because you're worrying about, do I show up in a way that meets everybody else's expectations? So if your language is always about, they think I should, they expect me to do this, I invite you to give that up and just be the authentic version of yourself. And then the last one is choose to release any shame that you hold about yourself. I did say some of these are easier than others, right? Some of them are pretty tough and take a good amount of work to undo patterns and to really get to the root of things. But if you hold shame about yourself, how can you love yourself? How can you truly be in a loving relationship with you when you think that inherently who you are is shameful? That's what holding shame is. So be willing to release, and it's a choice, and then you take the steps to do it, right? But be willing to take the steps to release shame that you hold about yourself, about your physical body, about your things you've done in the past, about your life now, wherever your life is. When you hold shame about it, you can't love yourself. So those are the 5 things. Give up your protective ways of being, daily practices to nurture your body and your spirit. Stop taking responsibility for how others feel and respond. Share the truth of who you are rather than the contrived version, and choose to release shame. That's all. Now, with Valentine's Day coming, with my friend Christy, my friend and colleague, we run a free challenge, 10 days for cultivating self-love. I'm going to put the link for that. You just have to join the Facebook group, which is free, if you want to be in the challenge. So we're going to give you daily things with some fun prizes that you can do to work on cultivating self-love for yourself. Okay, so if you're interested in that, there will be a link somewhere, wherever this is showing, that you can find and join that group if you want to do it. Okay, go ahead out and love yourself today. Have a good one.